Well, let's see, I do painting, photography, sculpture, graphic design, video, collage. I don't think I forgot any, but I probably have. One of the hardest questions for me to answer when I meet somebody the first time, oh, you're an artist? Yes. Well, what do you do? That's almost impossible for me to answer. And most people, you know, an artist, what do you do? Well, I do watercolor, or I'm a printmaker, or I'm a photographer. Well, I do all those things. So for me to explain my work is very hard because I don't want to list everything I do. And they say, well, what kind of work? You know, I can't say, well, I do flowers, or I do cows, or I do underwater, because I do all those things. So I do whatever comes my way, and I spend months, years, and then move on to something else. When I work, I usually work in a series or a body or a grouping, so I'll do 10, 12, 15 of that series. Well, I've recently, in the last couple of years, started working on flowers, floral. I once upon a time did cows as a subject matter. I used to be a scuba diver, so I have a lot of work that's based on what I saw underwater. I've done a lot of work in digital collage, lots of fish photography, and of course nature. I've done some sculpture, so it's just a variety of imagery, subject matter, technique, and process. Yes, I definitely have a pop art influence or a pop art background. Pop art is a movement that came about in the early to mid 60s. Andy Warhol and even Rauschenberg, Jasper Johns, those guys. And it was basically looking at our own culture as subject matter for artwork. Most of my work originates from something I've seen or something I've found. I don't get that much inspired by a movement or an idea, but it's things I see, and then I ask myself, how can I make this into art? Yeah, most artists don't do a great variety of things. They find one process or medium or technique that they're interested in and stick with that. I guess since I was trained as a designer and I studied all the different mediums and variety of techniques, just the way I approach it, when I go to make an image, I just feel that I can use anything or everything that I have to get the point across. Well, in terms of favorite mediums, it's not that I really have a favorite, it's that the idea kind of has to tell you what it wants to be, and then you have to determine what's the best way to get that out to the viewer, out to the public, to tell whatever story you're going to tell. Actually, I was just reading an article in Art News on that very subject, how does an artist know when the work is done? And as clarified in the article, it's different for everybody. For me, it's when the piece is finished arguing with me, or I'm finished arguing with it, that I know I've done the best I can do in every section, every segment, every passage of it, and that there's, no matter how many times I go back, I can't do any better than that. If I finish a piece and I step back and look and I see that that could be fixed, then I'll redo that. But it's just when I've reached the point where I can't do any more, any better. When somebody looks at a piece of mine, I hope that when they walk in the room and see it, it grabs their attention, and I really do try to knock them down or slap them in the face. My stuff is big and it's loud and it's bold, and I want to get their attention for as long as I can away from the rest of the bustling world.